Hey everybody, it's Monday and I've made about 60 masks since my original video on Saturday, and I've just been asked to make about 150 for our local hospital. So I've got a lot of work to do. Anyways, since I've been making more and more, I've come up with just a few little tips to make the process move a little smoother. So I just put a few of them in this video and hopefully it helps. I found really helpful is to mark my sizes on my cutting table. Since I've been cutting out a pile of these, it makes it way easier than constantly having to throw down the ruler. So I have my kid size right here, which I've made exactly the same way. It's just 7 by 13 inches, and I've been using slightly smaller elastic. And my adult size right here. And that way I can just throw my fabric down, I look for my tape, I cut it, and I'm moving much faster. A few notes on elastic. If you don't have 1/4 inch elastic, which is in short supply right now because there's so many people sewing, 3/8 inch works just fine. If it's a tight weave like this one, for men or people with large heads, you may need to use more like 12 inches as opposed to 10 inches. If it's something a little looser like this one with more give to it, from what I've figured out, 10 inches still seems to work fairly well even for men. This 1/4 inch one is a little more comfortable on the ears if it's stiffer. This stuff that's a little, not as stiff is fairly comfortable. This one's probably the least comfortable, but again, it holds it really nice and tight, and it's not so bad that you can't wear it. For the little kids, I've been using the much smaller elastic. I've still been cutting it at 10 inches and then letting their parents just, trim it down as needed. But 10 inches is more than most of them need, but, it's better. You can always take away, but you can't ever add more. So this smaller cording elastic works pretty well for the little kids ones too, especially if you have an infant who might be bothered by the larger strap. Or my daughter's autistic, so someone with special needs may be a little more sensitive. My daughter probably would not handle something like this, but something small like this wouldn't bother her too much. Oh, I also can add that I have this decorative elastic, which I haven't had to use yet. But, worst case scenario, if you're in a bind and you can't find the regular 1/4 inch because everybody's buying it, something like this will still work just fine. And if you have a teenager or a girl that really cares about the way things look, she might actually prefer something like this. Okay, we're back here at the ugly ironing board. And one thing I didn't include in the original tutorial is when I get to this stage, before I start to tug my elastic back and forth, I've been pressing with the iron. The first couple I didn't bother. It's not, you don't have to do it, but it does give it a nice crisper look, and it'll keep those pleats in there a little bit better. Like I said in the first one, if your fabric is stubborn, this is my water for my iron. It doesn't have iron in it. It's just my plain old tap water. I prefer to use that over starch because, this is going to be up against your face. But, spritz it with some water if you have a water bottle. Give it a nice press. It'll steam up a little. And then your folds, they look a lot nicer that way. And they'll keep a lot longer that way. I'm going to run a couple of these through the washing machine later today, just to see how they hold up. The other thing I've been doing is, now I've made a pile of these. When I'm giving them to people, I am not tying the knots in them. I'm going to give them to them like this so that they can tie the knot wherever is comfortable for themselves. Because the first couple I made, I tied the knots, I slipped them in, and then it looked nice and pretty when I gave it to them, but if it didn't fit correctly, they had to go yank the knot out, untie the knot, and that might be kind of difficult, especially for someone who's elderly, who maybe has arthritis in their hands or whatnot. But I made 50 of these yesterday. So I'm getting a lot better. I've worked out the children's dimensions, and I'm going to be working on a quick tutorial, pretty much exactly the same thing as yesterday. The children's size is a 13 by 7. So if you're comfortable making them, you don't need to watch the other video. Just, do the same thing with a 13 by 7 piece of fabric. And if you have the smaller elastic, go ahead and use the smaller elastic. But again, if not, whatever you've got will work. I'm probably also going to do another video for people who have no access to elastic, different things you can find around your house to use to tie the masks. I just pulled these out of the hot wash. I threw them in because I wanted to see, how well they'd hold up, and they look pretty good. I didn't even iron the pleats on this one, and it still has the pleats in it. This one was ironed, but you can see, they've held up a little bit better with the ironed one. So I will definitely be ironing all of the pleats from here on out. But, if you don't, it still looks pretty good. So. Some notes about wearing your mask. When you wear it with the fold facing down. It should be, somewhat tight, not uncomfortably tight. Again, you can purchase the skin tape. I've got some right here. Something like this. You can put, the pre-cut strips work well. You can put a strip here, a strip here, a strip here. Then you've got your seal. Also, if you don't put the knots inside right away, that gives you an easier way to adjust it if you don't like how tight you made it at first. This size seems to fit my 13-year-old very well. Like I said, for men, you may need a little bit more elastic, but otherwise, this one's pretty good for anybody above a small child's age. Something else that I decided to do was print up this little piece of paper giving people tips on how to wear the mask properly. I put my business card on it so they can contact me if they need more. It's a nice little info sheet if you're just passing them out to people. I'm going to go ahead and upload the photo of this to my Facebook page, so if anyone is making these and handing them out and doesn't want to take the time to make a little paper like this, just go ahead, Mary Kenyon Coffin Quilts on Facebook, and steal it out of my photos. I'll pin it to the top of my page. This is a good idea. And this is a good idea. And this is my kid making fun of the fact that I'm now making YouTube videos. Thanks for watching!
Alright, but I gotta get like a Mary accent. Hold up. Hi, my name is Mary Kenyon, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be teaching you how to make masks, alright, to protect you from the deadly coronavirus.